next segment. A CMO needs to be as much in the market, as much the person needs to be inside the organization.
That's
This
right.
is the hybrid role. You cannot just focus inside and you cannot just focus outside. You have to create a balance of it.
Correct.
So, and that could be a theme for our next 4 or 5 questions about Forbes communication, about Hysia, about Project Drona, startup investment boutique, and then the criteria for selecting. So it's like it balances your
Yeah.
keyword as well as your focus.
I think, see, at the end of the day, right, as they say, we have a day job to do. But
Uh,
then, I'll draw back the parallel to the civil services preparation. In my
mm,
opinion, CMO's role is the most misunderstood role from a lot of perspectives. But I'll tell you what, it gives you the best panoramic view of everything that you could ever attempt to do than any other role in the company. So that, in a way, ties back to a particular personality of an every individual. So we are born storytellers, we are born hustlers, we're born networkers, and we are also born, brand builders, which has to be for a longer term and a purposefulness in it, a sustainable brand. So now, if I go back to whatever you asked, see, as a part of marketing's outreach activities, right? If there is one person in the organization who can be an interface to a government, to a policy body, to an industry association, to a lot of NGOs. Of course, we spoke a lot about investor outreach, and that naturally comes back to a SCMO, in my opinion. And again, thanks to my organizational belief that I can go out and represent the company in multivarious platforms. And that's where I think whether Hysia, which is someone that I'm very, very strongly associated, it's an industry body, 30-year industry body, consisting of more than 400 IT companies in Hyderabad. It has its legacy as good, as old, and as stellar as NASCOM, while it continued to focus on what it does. So, for example, there I run an initiative called Project Drona. Project Drona is an education initiative, one of the 4 pillars of ICA's charter, where everyone said that this industry academia interaction from a student's perspective is very, very important, right? That hundreds of programs that many companies run. I thought that I will do a little impact towards engineering college faculty, who are very, very important to be reskilled, upskilled. So Drona was born out of that thought process. It's a 6 to 8 week program. The first cohort is graduated. More than 700 engineering colleges get positively impacted. Imagine a Coursera sort of a platform, thanks to partnerships with Infosys, Telangana Academy of Skill and Knowledge. So as they say, when you intend to do some good work, stars align by themselves. They come and provide this world-class content. Imagine a tier 3 town in Telangana, an engineering college lecturer getting upskilled in digital transformation, AI, ML, Python, and with capstone project, an industry immersion, the never of its kind, first of its kind, where these faculty were bought into an IT services company, into product companies, expose them into intricacies of what actually happens. So this is the side of intervention that we built. And then, it ties back to what my foundational sustainability chapter at Cigniti is, where we work on education, right? So that's where what am I doing there? In the process, I'm actually creating a lot of brand mind share for Cigniti, because I represent Cigniti by doing that. Some of my team members support me. They're getting engaged. They're getting newer vistas of exposure. I'm getting heavily networked. I represent both my organization as well as a body like ICA in a conglomeration of platforms, all the way to the national government level. So that's one dimension. The other dimension is to intricately keep yourself grounded and be connected to what's happening on an innovation landscape. So that's where personally, even at Cigniti, I have this role dimension where I sort of help oversee, orchestrate some of the startup investments that Cigniti is continuing to do, because we all know that this is an age of co-creation. So that's where, outside the realm of what I do at Cigniti, I have with 2 of my product colleagues at Core, we set up the small investment boutique fund, if I were to call it, where we have a vision of doing startup investments. When we started in 2018 with a vision that we'll do 25 startups by 2025. So when I say we do, we sort of invest in that. And then obviously, these are EV, deep tech, enterprise SaaS, consumer SaaS, and so on and so forth. We have our own playbook. But keeping the financial part away, we might not, we've done any small investments into, we're not like a very large early stage seed fund. Without going into the amount, but what we have learned in that process is, imagine talking to 100, 200, 300 technology entrepreneurs, shortlisting, picking our own thesis. One of two of them have had glorious runs. We also have one or two of them shutting the doors, but we now know what does go into an entrepreneur's mind. And I am a marketer, we have a product management guy, we have a technologist, technology marketer, an entrepreneur in this whole three people team that we have. So we can provide little that we know in this corporate experience as mentorship to these startups. And then imagine working with these founders and learning from them, and all of that knowledge actually goes back to the day's job as well. So that is where your ability to sort of stay grounded, learn from the newer vistas of innovation that is actually happening, so that sometimes you get stuck in this corporate myopia that I call, where you think that you sit in that well and think that everything there is all big. No, there's so much of stuff that's happening outside. The best way to do, going back to our original genesis, consume, create, and do whatever, right? That's what I said. So if I know that EV is the next big thing, if I have an opportunity to invest in an EV mobility company, in a deep tech SaaS company, I would rather do it. If the financial gains happen, that's great. But can I actually walk through that founder's vision? What is the problem that he's actually trying to solve? Because at the end of the day, as a technology marketer, if that's a newer dimension of messaging, positioning that I can learn from and apply, that will be the biggest learning. So that's the whole thinking, right? And so is the case. I'm now associated with NASSCOM's regional council as well. And then Forbes, of course, that's more extension to the professional work. We all know it is a great platform. So I'm part of the Forbes Communication Council, where obviously as a CMO there, I wear more Cigniti hat than any, and then sort of try to understand message and communicate and so on and so forth. These are things that I do outside, or co-curricular and extracurricular, if I have to draw a school parallel.
Yeah. And I was just going through while you were talking about this, you have created a positive feedback loop where everything comes back into your original day job, and then day job feeds back into your outside objectives, right? And this is an interesting thing. I mean, for any CMO, it is important to understand. Any CMO or any aspiring CMO, you need to manage both, internal as well as external.
Yeah, I mean, that also gives us this opportunity to be differentiated. You create a value proposition for your own self as a person, so that everyone in the organization understands that. It's like, I'm a great cricket fan. So when Jonty Rhodes was doing, right, they used to say he's already plus 20 on the field, right? He doesn't need to bat sometimes. He would have saved more runs than what he would score. So as a CMO, if I can bring these diverse aspects, I'm actually contributing and making myself more and more intrinsic part of an organization's growth strategy, growth curve. And that's when the leadership leans upon you as someone that can be trusted, and you become one of those core members of that eventual value creation curve. Otherwise you end up becoming very transactional.
Yeah, that's the right word. A CMO cannot be transactional. If you have big aspirations, you have to be part of the core. And
that's
I remember in one of the classes, one of the last class of marketing at IIM Ahmedabad, the professor asked us, what is strategy? And drew a circle of strategy, and then he started creating spokes of different things which are called strategy. And when the wheel was created, he simply erased the strategy and replaced it with marketing, and then said that marketing is a tangible form of strategy that you can see.
And you touched something that I wanted to end up this with from that side. So that's the reason why now I'm also doing this interesting program, a Chief Strategy Officer program at National University of Singapore. While one, obviously, it is again to make myself come out of the comfort zone and learn something new. But I believe that a well thought through decision making process, when you're a CMO, a natural extension to co-own strategy is more a marketer's right than anyone else's, because you have all the foundational elements to actually work and define that. And that is very, very important. And it's a natural extension, which goes back to your IMA exposure as well.